Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Evil Corp. And if you're interested in what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to their official Kickstarter project page. You can do that by following the link in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Those links will take you there and you can find out more information than I could possibly tell you here, and hopefully you'll consider backing the project. Now, Evil Corp is a competitive game where you and the other players take control of rich CEOs. Well, every CEO is rich, but specifically billionaires in this case, and supposedly you're trying to make the world a better place through technology, new innovations, social welfare programs, things like that. But of course, as in real life, most billionaires don't have those good-hearted kind of ambitions. Their secret ambition is to take over the world or to reshape the world in their own image. And so that's what you're trying to do in this game. You have a secret evil plan that you are trying to pull off before the other player CEOs do. You have to go through the 3 phases of your plan: researching it, building the prototype of whatever it is, and then finally pulling it off and enabling it. But of course, it's not going to be quite that easy. First, you have to get the capital to do so. You have to outmaneuver your opponents during the game through trickery. And finally, even when you finish your evil plan, your opponents may try to stop you, or at least hold you up long enough so that they can do it first instead. Let me go ahead and give you a brief look at how the game is played with a prototype copy of the game. So do bear in mind that what you see here may change in the final version, and they're still working on the end game and things like that, so I didn't go into too much detail about that. But again, that's why you should go to the Kickstarter page and find out more information. But in any event, we will take a look here, and then we are going to come back and we will discuss it further. Evil Corp is a competitive game for 3 to 6 players. Each player is a startup billionaire CEO who is pretending they want to improve people's lives with new technology and innovations, but is actually trying to pull off a secret evil plan to bend the world to their will. You'll need to acquire your R&D startup, develop the prototype for your plan, and finally launch your project. But your rival CEOs are trying to accomplish their plans as well, and if they see you about to complete yours, they'll try to stop you. Set up the game by laying out the hexagonal game board. Each segment represents a world market broken down further into hub cities and tax havens. In the center of the board, place the centerpiece. This will hold the opportunity cards, world event cards, and cash. Players will first randomly decide who will be the starting player, and therefore decide the starting turn order. Then, in order, every player chooses a CEO card and a section of the board to station themselves. CEOs are represented by a different color, and on the other side of their card is their secret plan. Together with that card, you'll get a set of pieces in their color. One of them is a base piece that goes on the volcanic tax haven of the market space in front of them. This base can be built up, indicating the completion of the phases of your plan, using 2 additional pieces that lock into the base and a cube in your color that will sit on top for the final phase. Normally, however, these cubes are used to mark your holdings on the board. And now, during setup, each player will choose 3 cities of their choice and place cubes there, but they must be in different markets. Finally, every player gets $5 billion in cash, representing their liquidity, and 3 random opportunity cards from the deck. Optionally, players can choose to use CEO powers in their game. Every CEO gets a unique card with a powerful special effect, but it can only be used once per game at the beginning of your turn. And as I said, these are optional. The game then begins and players take their turns in order. Every player's turn is broken down into 3 stages in order: income, spending, and world events. After that, play moves to the next player. During the income stage, you'll collect your revenue. Every holding on the board gives you $1 billion, and your base gives you $2 billion. It's important that you pay attention to the markets where your holdings are, as they will be affected by world events, which harm or hurt your revenue. Also in this first stage, you'll get new opportunities from your HQ. You can draw until you have 3 cards in hand, and you may discard as many cards as you like first before you draw, and then draw back up to that limit. You can improve your limit later on. Next is the spending stage. You can take several different actions, as many as you want, as long as you can afford them. All the actions have to do with the opportunity cards. These cards can be played by paying the cash amount at the top, and you either use the top part or the bottom nasty business part. If you use the top of the card, one of the 3 phases is indicated on the card, and you must play them in order. When played, you can slide it under your section of the board with only that phase section showing. For doing this, you gain a new business at the location indicated on the card, and you can add a phase piece to your HQ, which has the immediate benefit of increasing your hand size. It may be that you play a card of someone else's color. If you do this, you'll still gain the above benefits, but you'll never be able to complete your evil plan. You'll need to replace those cards with cards in your color later on. If you see that another player has your color of phase card locked down, you can buy it from them for the amount on the card, but this only sends it to your hand. You'll need to pay the amount again to the bank in order to play it. If instead you use the nasty business side of the card, these will be bad effects for the other players, like stealing their money, cards, or businesses. There are also agent cards which are critical for attacking rival evil plans in the endgame, but can also be used to raid the discard pile or do a hostile takeover for free. Hostile takeovers are when you take a card of your color from another player. Finally, in this phase, you can buy more opportunities at $3 billion each. You can even use them right away, but you still need to follow your hand limit. The last phase of your turn is World Events. Draw and resolve a card from the deck. Most of these cards require you to roll the 6-sided die to determine which world market is affected by it. Any player that has an HQ or business there will be affected. Some cards will make the revenue increase or decrease, while others will reset the events or opportunities. Some linger, some go away right away. There are a couple of factors that may trip you up. Due to world events and nasty opportunity effects, you may end up bankrupt. You'll lose out on gaining revenue until you rebrand, but you'll be immune to negative effects until then. If another player feels you've made a mistake in taking or giving money, you may be accused and forced to undergo an audit. If they can prove it, you have to pay $2 billion to them. If they accuse you falsely, however, they have to give you one of their businesses. Each player's turn follows this same order, and play continues until someone has assembled the 3 phases they need by any means necessary. On their next turn, the player can declare the end game, and then each other player in order will have a chance to play agent cards to sabotage the phases of your plan. If successful, the plan is foiled and they are out of the game. If the agents are unsuccessful, however, the player with the completed plan will win the game. That is Evil Corp. Well, the theming of Evil Corp is, of course, on point, and I'm actually reminded of the TV show Mr. Robot, where they actually refer to the evil corporation in that show as Evil Corp. That's just what they always call it for short. And it's a very prevalent thing today. These investors, CEO, billionaires who say they're doing the good thing, but it doesn't always end up that way. And of course, this is a matter of opinion and sometimes politics, so we won't get too far into that. But regardless of how you feel about it, it is a situation and a thing that is happening in the world. And there's always that conspiracy of what actually are they planning? What are their secret motives and plans? So the theming works very well there in that regard if you want something that is more modern, rather than just, I'm the lord or the baron of a castle back in the Middle Ages. But there's also the fact that there are all these little tidbits of things, like the tax haven, and that I refer to it as, the rules refer to it as a volcanic tax haven, just to give you that little secret super villain feel that you live in a volcano, that type of thing. And, you have all these different world markets, and that's where the real-world aspects of the game come into play, because world events can affect things. Your revenue can go up, your revenue can go down. You want to spread out your businesses to get to different markets to get as much revenue as possible, and to make sure that if you diversify, if a nasty world event happens, you're not going to be as crippled by it, because that's just one of your markets that you're dabbling in. But, of course, you're trying to build your secret plan as time goes on. The more you build your secret plan, the more bonuses you get as well, more businesses to play, more cards you can have in hand. So it helps you, but you have to have them all in your color, and the other players will try to snipe away cards of their color from you, which is pretty easy. They just have to pay for it, and that's more money for you, but then they're closer to getting their secret plan completed. So it's this back and forth of trying to get as much money as possible, but also staying out of the crosshairs of your opponents, but also keeping them from building their plans too fast while building your plan as fast as possible, because it is a race to get to be the first one to make all 3 phases of your plan. And it's interesting how you actually physically build it up at your volcanic tax haven, and it looks like you're building this pyramid to your own brilliance, that type of thing. Again, getting back into the theme. Tons of cards in the game, tons of world events, so lots of random chaotic things might happen, but you are in control because you determine how you use a card. Do you want to save it for its nasty effect? Do you want to use it to build up if you can do that, because you have to build them in order. So you never feel like you're stuck with cards that you're not going to use. If you can't use it for a phase, use it for a nasty effect, and so on. Mitigate the effects of the world event cards. And of course, there's the optional superpower cards that you might have that you can use at your discretion, but you only get once per game, so it's very crucial that you use it at the right point. So you have all these different things going on, and yet I felt like the game was fast. It's fast to set up, fast to teach, didn't overstay its welcome, and I feel like you could play this with casual gamers. Maybe not young gamers because they wouldn't understand the CEO theme as much, but certainly anyone who is a casual gamer would be able to pick this up very easily and start playing. So if you fall into any of those categories, if you like the theme, if you like how straightforward and how wheeling and dealing it is with the business, don't take my word for it. Go to the official Kickstarter project page and find out even more information than I could possibly tell you here. I'm going to have a link for that in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. That is Evil Corp, and thank you so much for watching, and as always, for supporting our sponsors. Take care.